right, here it is, my favorite segment of the morning. Real or just a hoax? The question comes up whenever UFOs are mentioned, but now some new support that may surprise you. Tomorrow, former military personnel are speaking out for the first time on camera about their personal experiences with UFOs in Washington, D.C. Investigative journalist Leslie Kean has been studying this for years. She's the author of the new book, UFOs, Generals, Pilots, and Government Officials Go on the Record. She's here to talk about it. Leslie, great to see you this morning.
Great to see you, Clayton.
So you spent 10 years working on this book. You have 5 different military generals that you've interviewed in this book. How did you manage to pull all this together?
Well, I mean, as you said, I've spent a long time working on it. I've published lots of stories on it in mainstream media, and over the years I started to reach out to some of these very high-level contacts, which you said are generals and military people from around the world, government officials who have investigated this, and just made it a point to get the most official and the highest level data that I could about the subject.
What I love about your book is you don't put any stories in the book that could be argued with. You call yourself a UFO skeptic. So none of the stories in the book, you say, can be argued with.
I agree with you. I mean, the evidence is irrefutable for some kind of physical phenomenon, and it's well documented in the book through multiple witnesses, radar, ground traces that are left by things that land.
And airline pilots,
right.
Officials, and so forth. Let's start with one, actually. This was at Chicago O'Hare Airport in 2006. This was witnessed by dozens of people there at O'Hare, and pilots as well. Tell us what happened at this one that ended up shocking a lot of people.
Absolutely. There was a disc that was hovering right over the United Airlines terminal, a round, metallic-looking disc that lots of people saw, as you said. It hovered there for maybe 5 minutes minimum and suddenly shot straight up through the clouds above it. There was a cloud bank above it and left this absolutely crisp hole in the clouds. People underneath could look up and see the blue through the cloud. So that's basically what happened. A lot of people saw it. None of the witnesses would go on the record because they're worried about ridicule, unfortunately.
Yeah, the pilots and people were worried about losing their job as well. Some other people in Phoenix were worried about losing their jobs for going on the record about the Phoenix Lights. This is one of the most famous UFO encounters ever. And take a look at this video. Thousands of people witnessed this over Phoenix. In fact, you in the book interviewed the governor of Arizona at the time, Fife Symington, about this, right?
Absolutely. Not at the time, but years later, and he is, in fact, probably one of the most famous witnesses because, as you said, he, too, was afraid of ridicule. While he was governor, he saw this object that lots of other people saw, but didn't say anything about it for 10 years. 10 years later, he decided that it was time to make amends to the people, that he had withheld this information. It was very important to the people of Arizona that they know that he was one of the people that saw it as well.
And he's featured in the book. Also in the book is McMinnville, Oregon. This one goes back to 1950, and I think this is fascinating. Way before Photoshop. Take a look at this photo. What are we seeing here?
Yeah, this was taken like with a Brownie camera. A farmer and his wife were just out on the farm in the middle of nowhere. They saw this disc hovering overhead, ran in and got their camera, took 2 very, very incredible photographs that have been well documented and studied by laboratories for decades.
Well, I would encourage everyone to pick up this book. If you're sitting there as a skeptic, read it from beginning to end and then make your decisions about it. Leslie Kean, the book is great. It's called UFOs. It is out now. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Clayton.
You bet. Coming up.